There's no more waiting, no more second chances. The third week of January 2025 is a cosmic checkpoint, and your life is about to split into two distinct timelines. One path leads to liberation and alignment with your highest destiny. The other, it locks you into old karmic loops, outdated soul contracts, and the weight of a collapsing world. Right now, you're being pulled toward a monumental turning point. This isn't just a shift, it's a rupture in the fabric of reality. Old energies are falling apart fast, and anything that isn't built for the future will not survive what's coming next. Tomorrow marks the tipping point. What happens next will ripple across the coming weeks, and you have one chance to align with the new frequencies or be left behind. This isn't fear, it's prophecy. And this message was meant to find you. Will you harness this energy? Take a moment to affirm in the comments, "I am ready." But before we dive deeper, I have a quick request. Our spiritual messages have faced some challenges in reaching a wider audience, and we need your help. So please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support is more than just a click. It plays a crucial role in spreading the light and amplifying these powerful messages to others. Let's dive in. The prophetic crossroads. There is an undeniable weight to this moment, a sense that something profound is shifting in the unseen layers of reality. The third week of January 2025 is not just another stretch of time on the calendar. It marks a pivotal cosmic threshold where the old structures of your life are being dismantled and new pathways are being carved. This energy is precise, deliberate, and relentless. It's as if the universe itself is sweeping through with a broom of divine order, clearing out what no longer serves your evolution. The days of passively drifting through old patterns are over. What worked before will no longer hold, and what was once tolerable will feel unbearable. This is not random. It is the result of energies that have been building for years, culminating now in a period of intense recalibration. The planetary alignments are acting like cosmic architects, tearing down outdated blueprints that you may still be holding on to. These are blueprints that were useful in past cycles, roles, identities, beliefs, but they have served their purpose and are now crumbling under the weight of their own obsolescence. What you're witnessing is not chaos, though it may feel like it. It is the natural collapse of structures that were never meant to last forever. Just as ancient bridges eventually wear down from the constant pressure of time and water, the energetic foundations you once stood on are disintegrating to make room for new, stronger frameworks. The things in your life that feel like they are falling apart are doing so because they can no longer carry you into the next phase of your journey. This isn't merely about external changes. The shift is happening at a deeper level, within your patterns, your choices, and your very essence. You may notice that routines or relationships that once felt comfortable are now feeling strained or even suffocating. This discomfort is not a mistake. It is a direct reflection of the energetic divergence taking place. The cosmic forces at play are not interested in preserving the familiar. They are focused on aligning you with your true purpose. And purpose cannot be found in recycled habits or outdated ways of being. It emerges when everything that isn't aligned is stripped away, leaving behind only what is real and necessary. Right now, you are standing in a moment where timelines are diverging. Think of it as two parallel tracks suddenly veering off in different directions. One path continues the familiar cycles you've lived through repeatedly, what some call karmic loops. These loops are repetitive cycles of unlearned lessons, where the same struggles show up again and again, disguised in different forms. They are seductive in their familiarity, offering the illusion of safety through predictability. But make no mistake, these loops do not offer growth. They only delay it, trapping you in a holding pattern until you're ready to face the lessons head-on. The other track, however, leads into unknown territory, a timeline that hasn't been written yet. It is filled with potential, freedom, and new experiences, but it requires something of you. It demands courage, presence, and the willingness to leave behind everything that feels safe but stagnant. The universe is not going to force you onto either path. The choice remains yours, but the window of opportunity is not infinite. The energies moving through this week are potent and fast-moving, and they will not wait for prolonged indecision. There is a distinct difference between transition and transformation. Many people live their lives in a state of transition, moving from one version of themselves to another without fully stepping into the new. Transition can feel endless, like walking through a foggy landscape with no clear destination. Transformation, however, is decisive. It is a moment when something clicks into place and the old self is no longer recognizable. This week carries the energy of transformation. The cosmic forces are not interested in half measures or temporary changes. They are pushing for a complete restructuring, a point of no return. What's at stake in this moment is not just your immediate future, but the larger arc of your soul's journey. The decisions you make now will ripple through the coming months, setting the tone for the rest of 2025 and beyond. This is a rare convergence of energies that won't come around again in the same way. It's a cosmic checkpoint, a chance to choose a higher path before the current timeline solidifies. If you feel a sense of urgency, it's because your soul recognizes the importance of this juncture. The call to evolve is no longer a quiet whisper. It's a booming declaration that the old ways have expired. There is no going back to the way things were. The universe is accelerating and time is compressing. The shifts you once expected to take years are now happening within weeks or even days. This acceleration is not meant to overwhelm you, but to align you more quickly with your purpose. The days of waiting for clarity or for the right moment are over. The time is now, and the universe isn't waiting for anyone to catch up. Signs you're being pushed toward a timeline shift. The energies of this week are not subtle. They are pushing, pulling, and stirring you in ways that may feel intense and disorienting. These shifts are not imagined, nor are they random. You may be feeling emotions and noticing patterns in your life that you can't explain, but these experiences are all part of a larger process. The universe is speaking in a language beyond words, using signs, sensations, and synchronicities to guide you toward a timeline shift. What's happening isn't chaos, it's preparation. Just as a storm clears away debris to reveal a fresh landscape, this energetic turbulence is clearing space for something new to take root. You may be experiencing sudden emotional surges that seem to come out of nowhere, waves of anxiety, frustration, or even grief. These emotions don't always have a clear source, which can make them feel confusing or overwhelming. But these feelings are not random outbursts. They are your soul's way of releasing outdated contracts and old energies that have been weighing you down. Think of it like cleaning out a closet you've ignored for years. As you start pulling things out, you may feel overwhelmed by the mess, but the process is necessary to make space for what truly belongs in your life. This emotional turbulence can feel like whiplash, where you swing from feeling hopeful and energized to suddenly feeling exhausted or emotionally drained. One moment, you may feel inspired to make changes in your life, and the next, you're overwhelmed by self-doubt or fear. This back-and-forth sensation is your system adjusting to the new frequencies coming in. Your soul is shedding old layers, just as a snake sheds its skin to grow. It may feel uncomfortable, but it's part of the natural process of evolution. The emotions rising to the surface are not meant to punish you. They're asking to be acknowledged, processed, and finally released. In addition to emotional intensity, you may also notice that synchronicities are showing up more frequently. These are not coincidences. They are signals from the universe, guiding you toward your new timeline. You may start seeing repeated number patterns like 111, 222, or 555. These numbers are not random. They carry energetic codes, messages from higher realms reminding you that you're in alignment with a shift. For example, seeing 111 may signal a new beginning, while 555 may indicate significant change is on the horizon. These patterns are like breadcrumbs, leading you through the forest of transition toward your new path. But synchronicities aren't limited to numbers. You may hear the same message repeatedly from different sources, a phrase that resonates deeply, a song lyric that feels like it was meant just for you, or a conversation that mirrors what's been on your mind. Dreams may become more vivid, offering insights or symbols that stick with you long after you wake up. These are not idle curiosities. They are tools of divine communication. It's as if the universe is tapping you on the shoulder, saying, "Pay attention. Something important is unfolding." Even random encounters or unexpected events can carry meaning. Perhaps you bump into someone you haven't seen in years, and that meeting sparks a new idea or opportunity. Or maybe you find yourself in situations that seem to repeat, forcing you to confront a lesson you've avoided. These experiences are all part of the cosmic puzzle, fitting together to guide you toward the timeline that is most aligned with your soul's purpose. However, not all signs of a timeline shift are gentle nudges. Some come in the form of breakdowns. Relationships that once felt solid may suddenly feel strained. Jobs that provided security may begin to feel suffocating. Even long-held beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of may start to crumble. These breakdowns can feel like the ground is shifting beneath your feet, leaving you unsure of what to hold on to. But breakdowns are not punishments. They are necessary demolitions, clearing out what no longer serves you. Imagine an old building that has become unsafe to live in. Rather than trying to patch up the cracks, it's better to tear it down and rebuild something stronger. The same is true for your life. The areas that are falling apart are the ones that are no longer aligned with your highest timeline. Holding on to them would only delay your evolution. In these moments of breakdown, it's easy to feel lost or defeated. But every breakdown carries the potential for a breakthrough. The cracks in your current reality are openings for new light to come in. The end of one chapter is the beginning of another. And what feels like a loss is often a necessary release. Think of it as a tree shedding its leaves in autumn. The shedding isn't a sign of death. It's a sign of preparation for new growth. The tree knows that in order to flourish again, it must first let go of what no longer serves it. You may also notice that your priorities are shifting. Things that once felt important may no longer hold the same weight, while new desires or passions begin to emerge. This is a sign that your soul is aligning with a new frequency. You're no longer content to stay in situations that drain your energy or keep you stagnant. Your inner compass is recalibrating, pointing you toward experiences and connections that resonate with your higher self. This recalibration can show up in your daily life in unexpected ways. You may feel the urge to declutter your home, change your routine, or distance yourself from certain people. These actions may seem small on the surface, but they are powerful symbols of the internal shift taking place. Just as a gardener prunes away dead branches to encourage new growth, you are being called to trim away the aspects of your life that no longer contribute to your flourishing. Physical symptoms may also accompany this timeline shift. You may feel more tired than usual as your body works to integrate the new energies. Headaches, dizziness, and emotional fatigue are common signs that your energy field is being recalibrated. It's like updating the software on your phone. The process may temporarily slow things down, but it's necessary to ensure you're functioning at a higher level. One of the most important things to remember during this time is that nothing is random. Every emotion, every synchronicity, every breakdown is part of a larger cosmic process. The universe is clearing the way for you to step into your next chapter, but it's asking for your participation. It's not enough to simply observe the signs. You must respond to them. When you see a synchronicity, take a moment to reflect on its meaning. When you feel emotional turbulence, allow yourself to sit with those emotions rather than pushing them away. When something in your life begins to break down, resist the urge to cling to it out of fear. Trust that something more aligned is on its way. These signs are like cosmic signposts, pointing you toward your new timeline. They may not always make sense in the moment, but when you look back, you'll see how each experience fit perfectly into the larger picture. The universe is not pushing you randomly. It's guiding you with precision and purpose. Your only job is to pay attention, trust the process, and step into the new with courage and openness. The collapse of old contracts. There is an invisible thread connecting you to every experience, relationship, and lesson from your past. These threads, often called energetic cords, are like agreements your soul made across lifetimes, a series of spiritual contracts that have shaped your journey. Some of these contracts have guided your growth, teaching you valuable lessons, but many have outlived their purpose. This week, the cosmos is urging you to sever those outdated cords because they are no longer aligned with the timeline your soul is ready to step into. Holding onto them is like clinging to a rusted anchor while trying to sail into new waters. It's time to cut those ties and move forward without the weight of the past. Energetic contracts aren't physical pieces of paper, but they carry the same binding energy. They are agreements your soul made at various points in your existence, commitments to people, places, or experiences that were necessary for your evolution. Some contracts were created to help you learn compassion, while others were formed to teach you resilience, forgiveness, or patience. But just like earthly contracts, spiritual agreements have expiration dates. You wouldn't continue paying rent on a house you no longer live in. Yet many of us unknowingly carry the energetic burden of old soul agreements that no longer serve us. This week marks a powerful, energetic deadline. Imagine it as a divine courtroom session where your outdated contracts are laid out in front of you, waiting to be reviewed and either renewed or voided. These contracts don't dissolve on their own. They require your conscious participation. You must acknowledge the ties that bind you and make a deliberate choice to release them. The universe is offering a rare window to sever these cords, but the opportunity won't last indefinitely. Think of it like a portal that opens for a brief period. If you miss it, you risk staying entangled in the same old patterns until the next cosmic window appears. One of the clearest signs that you're still tied to an outdated contract is the feeling of being stuck in karmic loops. These loops are repetitive cycles that keep you reliving the same struggles over and over again, like a record that's scratched and keeps playing the same part of a song. You may notice patterns in your life that seem to follow a frustratingly familiar rhythm, relationships that end the same way, financial struggles that persist despite your efforts, or emotional wounds that never seem to heal. These are signs that you're caught in an energetic loop, bound by a contract that has reached its expiration date but hasn't yet been released. Breaking free from these loops requires recognizing that they are no longer necessary. The lessons they brought you have already been learned, or in some cases, they no longer apply to your current reality. Holding on to them out of habit or fear keeps you anchored in lower timelines, where growth feels slow and progress is hard-won. It's like trying to climb a mountain while carrying a heavy backpack filled with outdated maps and broken tools. You don't need those old maps anymore. They were useful once, but the terrain has changed, and you're being offered a new path forward. The act of severing energetic cords is one of the most powerful tools you can use to break free from these outdated agreements. Think of it as cutting the strings of a marionette that has been controlling your movements from behind the scenes. These cords can be tied to past relationships, ancestral patterns, societal expectations, or even your own limiting beliefs. Severing them doesn't mean abandoning your past or forgetting your experiences. It means reclaiming your sovereignty. It's a declaration that you are no longer bound by the contracts that kept you small, fearful, or stuck in cycles of lack. Performing a cord-severing ritual is a symbolic act that carries deep, energetic weight. It doesn't have to be elaborate. What matters most is your intention. Visualize the cords that are still tied to you, like vines wrapped around your body. These vines may represent old relationships, unresolved guilt, fears you've inherited from your ancestors, or promises you made to yourself that no longer align with who you've become. As you picture these cords, imagine yourself holding a pair of spiritual scissors infused with light and power. With each cut, you're freeing yourself from those entanglements, allowing your energy to flow freely again. This isn't about cutting ties with people or abandoning your responsibilities. It's about releasing the energetic baggage that no longer belongs to you. For example, if you've been carrying guilt from a past mistake, that guilt may have formed a cord that keeps you stuck in self-punishment. Severing that cord doesn't erase the experience. It simply frees you from the unnecessary weight of shame, allowing you to move forward with a lighter heart. Similarly, if you've been holding onto a toxic relationship out of obligation or fear of being alone, severing the cord doesn't mean you have to end the relationship in the physical world. It means you're cutting the energetic ties that keep you feeling drained or controlled. You may also notice that some cords are ancestral in nature. These are patterns passed down through your lineage, beliefs about money, love, success, or identity that you've inherited without question. For instance, if your family has a history of financial struggle, you may unconsciously carry the belief that abundance is out of reach. This belief forms an energetic cord that keeps you tied to that experience, even if it's no longer relevant to your current reality. Severing these ancestral cords is an act of liberation, not only for yourself, but for those who came before you and those who will come after you. The universe is urging you to do this work now, because staying tied to the old will keep you trapped in timelines that no longer resonate with your soul's highest potential. It's like trying to wear clothes you've outgrown. They may have fit you once, but now they feel tight, uncomfortable, and restrictive. The longer you hold on to these outdated contracts, the more you limit your ability to step into new opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are waiting for you in higher timelines. The collapse of these old contracts is not a loss, it's a liberation. It's an opportunity to reclaim your power and consciously choose what you want to carry forward. You are not the same person who signed those contracts, and you are no longer bound by the same lessons. The universe is handing you the spiritual scissors, inviting you to cut the cords and walk free. This week, the energy is ripe for severance. The cosmic window is open, and the choice is yours to make. Will you continue to carry the weight of the past, or will you take this opportunity to step into a new chapter, unburdened and empowered? The time to decide is now, before the energetic deadline passes. The past few days may have felt like a whirlwind, as if life is speeding up and dragging you along for the ride. You're not imagining it. The energy surrounding you is heavier, more intense, and more relentless than usual. This is no ordinary fatigue or emotional turbulence. It's the direct result of a profound energetic acceleration happening all around you. Earth's frequency has increased, and like a car suddenly shifting into a higher gear, your body and soul are struggling to keep pace. This acceleration is pushing everything to move faster: events, emotions, lessons, and the result is a feeling of exhaustion, confusion, or being out of sync with time itself. Have you noticed that time feels warped lately? Some days seem to stretch endlessly, while others disappear in the blink of an eye. This isn't just your mind playing tricks on you. The energetic frequency of Earth is speeding up, which affects your perception of time. Imagine an old clock suddenly being wound up too tightly. The hands spin faster than they should, and the ticking grows frantic. That's what's happening on a cosmic level. This acceleration forces you to process experiences, emotions, and lessons at a much faster rate than you're used to. What once took months or even years to unfold is now happening in days or hours. The result? Overwhelm, fatigue, and a sense that you can't catch your breath. This energetic acceleration isn't limited to time. It's affecting your physical body as well. If you've been experiencing headaches, dizziness, or sudden waves of exhaustion, you're feeling the effects of this energetic shift. These physical symptoms aren't random, nor are they signs that something is wrong with you. Your body is being recalibrated to match the new frequencies pouring into Earth. Think of it like upgrading your phone's operating system. During the update, the device might slow down, freeze, or behave strangely as it integrates the new software. Your body is going through a similar process. It's adapting to the higher frequencies, but that adaptation process can feel uncomfortable. The headaches and dizziness you're feeling are often linked to your crown chakra, the energy center at the top of your head, which connects you to higher realms and spiritual downloads. As these new energies pour in, your crown chakra is working overtime to process them. It's like opening a floodgate. Too much water rushes in at once, and it creates pressure. That pressure can manifest as physical discomfort, particularly in the head and neck area. You might also feel a heaviness in your chest, a sign that your heart chakra is expanding to accommodate more light and higher frequencies. This expansion can feel like emotional overwhelm, as old wounds surface to be cleared. Fatigue is another common symptom during this energetic shift. But this isn't ordinary tiredness that a good night's sleep can fix. It's soul-deep exhaustion the kind that makes you want to crawl into a cocoon and shut out the world. This is because your body is processing more than just physical experiences. It's processing energetic upgrades, emotional releases, and karmic clearings all at once. Imagine running a marathon while carrying a backpack full of emotional baggage. That's what your soul is doing right now. The exhaustion is a sign that deep work is happening beneath the surface, even if you can't see it. You might also find yourself feeling more emotional than usual. One moment, you're perfectly fine. The next, you're on the verge of tears or consumed by anger. This emotional whiplash is part of the recalibration process. Your energy field is being flooded with new light, which pushes out any lower vibrations that no longer serve you. Emotions you've buried, grief, anger, fear, are rising to the surface to be acknowledged and released. It's like stirring up sediment at the bottom of a river. The water becomes murky for a while before it clears again. Don't resist these emotions. Allow them to flow through you like a river, carrying away debris. The more you allow yourself to feel and release, the lighter and clearer your energy will become. What's happening on a physical and emotional level is also happening at a cellular level. The intense cosmic energies of this week are activating dormant parts of your DNA, parts that have been asleep for lifetimes. This activation is part of humanity's evolution into higher states of consciousness. Think of your DNA as a book with many sealed chapters. For most of your life, you've only had access to a few chapters, but now the universe is opening new sections of the book, revealing knowledge, abilities, and wisdom that have been locked away. This activation process can feel overwhelming because it's waking up parts of you that you didn't even know existed. DNA activation isn't just a spiritual concept, it's a physical process. Your body is literally changing to adapt to higher frequencies. This can manifest as strange sensations in your body, tingling in your hands or feet, a buzzing sensation in your head, or even feeling like your body is vibrating. These sensations are signs that your energy field is expanding and recalibrating. It's as if your physical body is catching up with your soul's evolution. You're becoming more sensitive to energy, more attuned to subtle vibrations, and more aware of the unseen forces shaping your reality. One of the most profound effects of this DNA activation is the awakening of intuition. You may find that your inner voice is becoming louder, guiding you more clearly than before. You might experience sudden bursts of insight, or a knowing that goes beyond logic. This is your soul remembering its ancient wisdom, the wisdom stored in the newly activated parts of your DNA. Trust these intuitive nudges, even if they don't make sense in the moment. They are guiding you toward your highest timeline. But this process isn't easy. Transformation rarely is. Think of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't simply grow wings overnight. It must go through a complete breakdown inside the chrysalis, a dissolving of its old self before it can emerge as something new. That's what's happening to you right now. You're in the chrysalis, dissolving old patterns, shedding outdated beliefs, and preparing to emerge into a new version of yourself. It's messy, uncomfortable, and at times disorienting, but it's also necessary. If you're feeling disoriented, ground yourself in the present moment. Simple practices like walking barefoot on the earth, breathing deeply, or drinking water can help your body integrate these new frequencies. Imagine yourself as a tree with roots sinking deep into the ground, holding you steady as the winds of change blow through. The energy may be intense, but you are stronger than you realize. You've been preparing for this shift for lifetimes, and your soul knows exactly what to do. This is not a random storm of chaos. It's a cosmic recalibration, a sacred process of becoming. The intensity you're feeling is proof that transformation is happening. Just as a seed must push through the dark soil before it reaches the light, you're in the process of breaking through your own layers of limitation. Embrace the discomfort, knowing that it's leading you to something greater. The energies may be hitting you harder than usual, but they're not here to break you. They're here to awaken you to your true, limitless self. There comes a time in every journey when a choice must be made, a defining moment when the path ahead splits and you can no longer walk the same road. That moment is now. The energetic crossroads of this week marks a profound fork in the road of your soul's evolution. Two distinct timelines are unfolding before you, and your next steps will determine which one you step into. One path leads toward expansion, liberation, and a life aligned with your higher purpose. The other pulls you back into the same cycles of struggle, stagnation, and karmic loops that have defined your past. The choice isn't distant or theoretical. It's right here, in front of you, asking for your commitment. These two timelines aren't abstract ideas. They are energetic realities that are being created by your thoughts, actions, and beliefs in this very moment. Imagine standing at a crossroads in the middle of a vast forest. One path leads upward, toward a mountaintop where the air is fresh, the light is brighter, and the view reveals endless possibilities. The other path loops back into the dense forest, where you'll find yourself walking in circles, passing the same landmarks over and over again. That's the choice you're facing now. The higher timeline offers growth, freedom, and alignment with your divine mission, while the lower timeline keeps you tethered to the old patterns and fears that no longer serve you. You may be tempted to stand at the crossroads and wait, thinking that more time will bring clarity, or that the decision will become easier if you just delay a little longer. But the universe is making it clear. There is no neutral ground anymore. Indecision is no longer an option. Choosing to stay where you are, clinging to what's familiar, even if it feels heavy or outdated, is, in itself, a choice to remain on the old timeline. It's like standing in a river with two currents pulling in opposite directions. If you don't make a conscious effort to move toward the higher current, the lower one will inevitably carry you downstream. This isn't a time to sit on the fence, hoping that change will happen for you. It's a time to choose your direction, with intention. This split between timelines is happening on both a collective and personal level. On a collective level, humanity is at a turning point. Structures, beliefs, and systems that have been in place for centuries are crumbling under the weight of their own outdated energy. We see it in global events, political shifts, and societal upheavals. The old ways of control, division, and fear are losing their grip, while new possibilities for unity, compassion, and higher consciousness are emerging. But just as the collective is making this choice, so are you. On a personal level, you're being asked to decide whether you'll continue carrying the burdens of old contracts, fears, and limitations, or whether you'll step into a new reality where you're no longer defined by your past. The universe isn't asking for perfection. It's not expecting you to have all the answers or to feel completely ready, but it is asking for commitment. It's asking you to choose your timeline with clarity and conviction. Think of it like planting a seed. The act of planting it is a statement of intent. You're choosing to nurture new growth. You may not see the results immediately, but by making that choice, you're aligning yourself with the energy of possibility. The higher timeline requires that same leap of faith. It asks you to trust that by releasing what's familiar but limiting, you're making space for something greater to unfold. This week's energy is particularly intense because it's not just about a general shift in consciousness. It's about your soul's mission. Every soul comes to Earth with a purpose, a mission to fulfill. But often, that mission gets buried under layers of fear, doubt, and societal conditioning. You might have told yourself that you'll step into your purpose when the time is right, or when things settle down. But the universe is delivering a clear message. The time is now. There will never be a more perfect moment to align with your soul's mission. Waiting any longer only delays your growth and keeps you tethered to the old timeline. You may feel the weight of this decision pressing on you, like a heavy cloak draped over your shoulders. That's because stepping into the higher timeline requires a release, a letting go of everything that's kept you in the lower vibration. It requires shedding old identities, beliefs, and attachments that no longer serve your highest good. Imagine carrying a suitcase that's filled with items from your past, old clothes that don't fit, trinkets from relationships that ended long ago, papers from jobs you've left behind. The suitcase is heavy, and it's slowing you down. To step onto the new timeline, you must set that suitcase down and walk forward without it. Fear is the biggest obstacle standing between you and the higher timeline. It whispers in your ear, telling you that the unknown is too risky, that change is too uncomfortable, and that it's safer to stay where you are. But fear is like a shadow. It only has power when you let it linger in the corners of your mind. The moment you bring it into the light, it loses its grip. Recognize the fear for what it is, a relic of the old timeline, a voice that belongs to a version of you that no longer exists. Your future self is already standing on the higher timeline, waiting for you to catch up. This version of you has already released the old burdens, stepped into alignment with your divine purpose, and embraced the freedom that comes from living authentically. Imagine this future self calling out to you from across a river, encouraging you to take the leap. The only thing standing between you and that higher version of yourself is the bridge of choice. Crossing that bridge requires courage, but it also brings liberation. It's a release from the weight of old stories and a step into the light of new possibilities. The split between timelines is a sacred process, one that has been prophesied across cultures and traditions for centuries. We're living through a time of great awakening, a period when the veils between worlds are thinning, and humanity is being offered a rare opportunity to ascend into higher states of consciousness. But this isn't something that happens passively. It's not a wave you can ride without effort. It's a path that must be chosen consciously and walked with intention. Think of this week as a cosmic contract renewal period. You're being asked to renegotiate your agreement with life itself. Do you want to continue living according to the old terms, repeating the same cycles and carrying the same burdens? Or do you want to step into a new agreement, one that honors your soul's growth, your highest potential, and your divine mission? The choice is yours, but it must be made with clarity. The higher timeline isn't reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone willing to choose it, but it requires honesty and courage. You must be willing to face your shadows, release your fears, and embrace the unknown. The path may be unfamiliar, but it's also filled with light, guidance, and divine support. The timelines are splitting, and the universe is holding its breath, waiting to see which path you'll choose. The road to higher consciousness is open, but you must take the first step. Will you walk forward into the new, or will you remain tethered to the past? The choice is yours to make, and the moment is now.